So today I'm trying out a New York style pizza. The dough has been proving in the fridge for 3 days and I've just pulled it out an hour ago so I can get back to room temperature. And I've also had the Solidteknics tray preheating in the oven at the highest temperature it can go for that hour as well. I'm going to attempt to roll out the dough like they do in New York apparently. So first thing I'm doing is making the crust. Looking pretty good so far. Now, I'm a huge fan of pizza, but Hing isn't so much except for New York style, which I wasn't quite sure what that was. So I looked it up and found a recipe that was meant to be quite good. So Hing, what is New York style pizza?
Soft, foldable, gooey.
New York style pizza is soft, foldable, gooey. Thick base, thin base?
Usually thin.
Thin base, okay. So now I've kind of got the crust on it. Now I'm going to start spreading the middle out. You can't hear it, but because it's really quiet. Oh, but as I'm doing this, you can actually kind of hear little pops of the air bubbles in the dough. Also, I didn't get on camera, but when I pulled the dough out of the container it had been in, it was all stringy, which is a good thing. Like, it was the gluten working in it. I'm also a fan of the no-knead bread recipe, which I got off the New York Times. It's one you leave to prove overnight for about 16 hours. And again, when you pull it out and you cook it in a casserole dish or a Solidteknics pot, if you've got one, yeah, it has this beautiful strings in it as well, air bubbles. There's probably a technical term for it, but I call it strings. Okay, it's not doing too badly. Now is the next part, which I'm not so good at. It's kind of stretching it out, but you have to do it just with your fingers. Not putting any pressure with the palms of your hands. I can already see, because I don't want thin spots opening up in the dough. Okay, and now the really hard part is where you kind of do it in the air. Mine just always stretches uncontrollably and I get all these really thin spots in the middle. So lift side over and up, spread. You can kind of see the weight of it is stretching out, but looking up with the, you can see the light shining through it. I've still got these kind of thicker spots, but I'm actually kind of leave it there because I don't want it getting too big for the tray. I think that's a pretty good size. You can see it's slightly thicker around the edges, just where I pulled it out. So the crust you get with that is, on my old style of pizzas, I used to fold it over and it never really quite worked out well. So I like this, it's just stretching it out till it's a bit slightly thicker. Oh, there's the fat bit in the middle. Okay, let's see how we go. Also, I think you're meant to do this on what's called a pizza peel or a sheet of baking paper. I'm trying to get away from baking paper, so I'm not using it. And you're meant to top your pizza on it and then slide it onto the tray. But because I don't have that, I'm going to take the tray out of the oven, pop the dough straight on it, and I've got all my ingredients ready to go, and I'm just going to dress it really quickly and then stick it straight back in the oven. Okay, now to take the tray out of the oven, what I'm going to use are these welding gloves that we found at Aldi, but you can also get at Bunnings. Now they're designed for heat, so they're really good for using on the Solidteknics tray because it gets super hot. And also we use it when we're seasoning the pans to combat that really high heat that you use. Okay, I'm going to take the tray out now. Quick grease. Oh man. I can't do that. I save my butcher's paper to use for greasing trays. Little hint. Even though that's a really high heat, I'm still able to move this pizza around. A little bit thin there, I'm carrying over. Okay, to start off with, I'm not using a tomato base, I'm using, sorry, just had to get my glove. I'm using just a herb pesto that I made with warrigal greens, basil, thyme, parsley from my garden, a bit of parmesan cheese, bit of oil of course. No pine nuts in this one, because I didn't have any. Okay, one thing that my pesto did like a little bit of was salt. So I've got my Murray River salt flakes here. I'll put a little sprinkling of that on. It's not really strongly flavoured salt, so it's okay. Cheese. Now I'm going to use a combination of mozzarella, of course. You want that pull apart meltiness, stretchiness on a pizza. But I've also got some grated vintage cheddar for a bit of extra flavour, but I'll actually put that on top. Salami. Perfect. Mushrooms. Okay, I got some sun-dried tomato strips. Love these. Onion, caramelized onion. Done now. Solidteknics wok. Okay. Bit of cheddar on top. Gloves back on. And into the oven we go. Again, highest heat possible, 6 to 10 minutes. I'll start off with 6 and see how we go. So that is 6 minutes at 500 degrees. Look at that. Don't you just love the way that just slid off the tray? We don't need this anymore. Okay. Okay, so it seems like there's a bit of crispiness, but still a bit of flexibility to the crust. You can hear it crunching. I like thin-based pizzas, and I like them to be crispy. Sometimes you get them and they're just dry. This is looking promising. Now, I only made a half batch of this recipe. Oops, there we go. So it actually makes enough for 4 pizzas. So it made enough for 2 pizza doughs for me. And it's so simple that if this tastes as good as it looks, I think I'm just going to have a batch of pizza dough in my freezer all the time, ready to go. Let's have a look at the underside. Nicely speckled and brown. So it's still a little bit too hot to eat, so I'll just wait a couple of minutes so I don't burn my mouth. Time for the taste test. Floppy, foldable, but still crunchy. So good, so good. It's everything I wanted it to be. It's got that bit of crispness to it. You probably can't pick it up on the camera, but there's a little crunch with every bite. Bit soft and foldable, just like the way Hing likes.